And we're back. Welcome. I'm feeling a little bit anxious for some reason, but okay, hopefully we'll get through today easily.
There
For
has
whom
to be a
the bell
reason.
tolls. So it's a beer we've had before. It's a beer I'm gonna have again. It's a beer I'm gonna drink right now. Hopefully won't fuck up the pour. Third time in a row. Seventh, eighth, 11th. I think it's 11. I think I fucked up a pour on every podcast. This is 11. Today we decided to talk about
Uh,
media.
yeah.
The media. There, for those of you who complained about me not drinking dark beer, there you go. This is a very dark beer.
Where is the...
With featuring toffee malt complexities and dried fruit notes. Literally, fruity beer.
Okay, here it is.
Siggy's going to be drinking filibuster, and you know how much she loves her filibuster.
The friend whose birthday it is tomorrow night is overloading text messages of if you're wondering if you should come, you should. I don't know why it's 80s theme parties.
People miss the 80s, the times of when they were children,
Well,
the times of the Terminator and Metallica, the times of Blade Runner and The Cure.
let's see. Let's see which years. So how do you feel about the overall state of film and cinema and theater?
I've actually been quite disappointed with most of the movies I've seen in the last ever. I don't like most movies these days. The movies that do entertain me are mindless, violent movies. Although it's not true. Me and you have watched uh, Ex Machina. Ex Machina was particularly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was gonna go somewhere and do something. But even that movie, like it had a bit of a slow burn. It was satisfying enough, but then they just kind of abruptly ended it. Dude, in my sense, I feel like once she got out, spoilers for all you brats out there. For once she got out into the real world, they just kind of faded to black, and that's it. That's like the point where most movies would begin is once the secret AI, super powerful robot would
No.
get out into the world and try and blend in with the rest of society. Like I said, that's when most movies would begin and say, "Hey, John Connor, you have to go kill this robot that's blending into society." Um, and that's when the action packed intensity begins. But Ex Machina just built up to that point, and then left.
Well, but that wasn't the point of the movie, which is why I loved the movie because it was a psychological thriller, and those are my favorite types of thrillers.
Do you mean entire movie revolved around how do I put this?
Two people
The
talking.
notion of robots being inherently sociopathic because they literally only have simulated emotions and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Simulated emotions. Robots don't actually have emotions.
And I really love the guy who plays the creator. That was just he was such an interesting. I just thought that movie was really good. I can't think. So I was gonna. So here's the thing. Like outside of the Marvel movies, because those are its own. Like that's like a whole universe. You can't even count them as they're not standalone movies, right? And like I'll say. Out of those, I've enjoyed Ant-Man and Doctor Strange quite a bit. Like I thought they were like still pretty good
Okay.
standalone movies.
I need to talk shit about Ant-Man for a moment. And everyone is sucking the dick of Marvel and everything they do. And I do enjoy the Marvel movies. I thoroughly do. There's just one point to Ant-Man. One small note that they mentioned inside of the opening, the beginning of the explanation of the sciences that they have never followed up with. It's like a small blip that they mentioned, and then they completely forgot about it for every single other point of the entire movie. They point out that they don't actually shrink atoms, they just crush them together so you maintain your full weight. It's just super condensed. Which is completely thrown out the window when he's carrying around a tank on a keychain. Because the weight of a tank would be on the keychain. And just ignore it. And the tank was... Oh yeah, spoiler alert. The tank was the major plot point in that movie. If you remember, inside he expanded the tank and then he drove out of the secret facility inside of it. And you're like, haha, he's smart. But like that, you can't carry the weight of a tank on a person. Also, Ant-Man seems to have this thing where he runs on, like where he jumps on top of people and then runs across them. Just imagine something the size of an ant falling on you, but also being the weight of a human being. It would literally crush you. He'd penetrate people like a bullet. No, I don't think
that's what that meant.
Yes, that's exactly what that meant.
Like he weighs...
No. They specifically talked about it.
That's dumb.
They specifically said, you maintain your weight, you just shrink down. That's why when he fell in the bathtub, when he first shrank, he made giant thumping noises. Remember when he fell onto the tile? No,
like I feel like it's like the weight that you should be at that size. Like the mass and weight
because
thing
he fell
is balanced.
onto the tile floor. Remember, he fell onto the tile floor and shattered the tile floor. Because the weight of a human being was concentrated into one point. This is why they ruined.
Dumb.
This is why they ruined it. Because
that's not how body mass and like base height.
No, but they said they're taking the particles, the atoms, and just bringing them closer together. So the atom weight is still there.
That's bad.
Exactly.
Science.
See, they just threw everything out the window. They said you don't actually lose your weight; you just get smaller.
Okay, well then and so again, and these movies are not like.
And then they broke that entire rule by the end of the movie because, like I said, he jumps on top of people, he runs on their guns, and then he punches them and they go flying. And you're like, how do you punch them and go flying if you're the weight of an ant? Because he maintains his weight. Because that's why he throws people as an ant. Well, no. But at the end of the movie, he shrinks down smaller than the size of atoms to go to the quantum level, right? You remember that? Mm-hmm. And there's like hints of Ant-Man 2. And like you can't crush atoms together to the point of where they're smaller than the atoms. He said you only removes the space between atoms, but then he shrunk down to a quantum level, which is smaller than atoms. Atoms can't be crushed down to something to the point smaller than regular atoms. So that just throws it all out there. Yeah, it's a really cool scene when like Hawkeye shoots Ant-Man off of his arrow, but imagine if like Ant-Man was the size of a human being and Hawkeye trying to shoot him on an arrow.
Yeah, that
I know,
yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't, yes.
That's one thing that they just shouldn't have included and just said movie magic.
Yes.
Just movie magic and that's it. Sorry.
Yes.
Otherwise, Ant-Man was a pretty solid movie.
No, honestly, none of these Marvel because like and so this is what I'm saying. Like my criteria for I don't mean like entertaining and fun, and so comedies usually don't even meet unless they're like really well done. But I don't mean just entertaining. I mean like really well written and acted and thought provoking and like just like I don't know.
Okay.
So just in the past 5 years, even like I'd even go as far as 10. If you can't name a superhero movie, you just can't. Name me any movie that like really stands out. Like okay, so this is where I kind of wanted to start. Like overall, in general, if you were to list like movies that like are your favorite movies that really stand out to you as movies, what would they be? And I want to kind of go through IMDb's top 250 and just see how many of them are newer versus older movies. And I get that like there's hindsight bias and nostalgia bias, and I feel like that about music. Like everyone says music used to be better in the day, and I don't actually think that. I think music has been progressing, and I feel that about television. And we've had this discussion before that I feel like television has been improving over time. And getting better, and they're getting more like intense and interesting and doing cooler ideas and getting more recently away from the Game of Thrones was a step away from the procedurals. And these cop procedural dramas are like getting old. Like now they need a different spin to them or whatever.
Okay. But to be fair, HBO has been trying to get away from the formulaic garbage for a while. That's what made HBO so great. Mm-hmm. HBO I'm sorry, we're sidetracking from movies all of a sudden, but what did HBO come in with? They came in with a lot of what they did was like Dexter, for example.
Yeah,
Dexter was
no,
still a
that's not
procedural.
that
No,
was
no,
Showcase. Dexter was an HBO. Dexter's
you're right.
Showcase.
Okay, so it was still a procedural, but it wasn't. Okay, think of it, Sopranos. That wasn't a procedural, and HBO
Was
did that.
Breaking Bad AMC or HBO? I think Breaking Bad was HBO.
You have to look it up. I don't know.
Sex and the City was HBO. Which was still different. I mean, yeah, that show is still different than most shows up until that time. But I'm just saying, like, I could list right now 10 TV shows that have come out in the past 5 years that I thought were incredible. But I can't list 10 movies that have come out in the past 5 years that I thought were incredible.
Movies are a lot harder to do than other things, and we just addressed the fact that it might be a lot of it is hindsight. You watch things and you're not sure how to relate to them because you have not. Okay, what was my point? My point is you start to like a lot of things back when you're a kid because you don't know what came before it and you don't know what's going to come after it. As you get older, you have a lot more hindsight and a lot more present sight, I'm going to call it, because you've experienced more and more of the same and more related subjects. So you'll see like a movie like Transhumanism is not as interesting. Okay, sorry, what was that movie called? Was it the one that we and you watched it together? It was spoiler alert, Transcendence. With
That's
Johnny
so bad.
Depp, where he uploaded his mind to a computer.
I felt like that was like a Doctor Who episode already did that or something.
Oh, Doctor Who did it like 400 times since then. In fact, they even played with the notion of being uploaded, not knowing that you're uploaded, or like whatever. But again, Black Mirror will also do transhumanism way better than anyone else, except for season 3. Season 3 is garbage. I would just point that out right now. Season 3 is complete and
Like,
utter
so
trash. Just trash.
Maybe in another episode I'll go on the rage. I've already gone on my rampage about
Maybe
Black
maybe we'll
Mirror.
do one of these just on Black Mirror. We'll go over episode by episode basis and talk about what's good about
We
them
should-
and what's bad. At least give me something to edit in as opposed to people watching us drink beer. No, you people are always going to watch us drink beer. Maybe in the summer I'll just take the camera outside and we can just sit in the porch and talk about the stuff. Although I don't know how how the microphones are going to pick it up. Might have to get wind protectors.
No, but it can't. Like, there has to be a reason that you can name a bunch of TV shows that are like.
Okay. May I just
Okay,
produce?
so go through your list of
No,
movies.
it's not my list of movies. It's why I have problems listing good movies or movies I thought was good because since then the movies have changed. And the reason I like the movies isn't necessarily because I like the movies, is because they do a concept that I haven't seen a million times before. Like for example, I really loved Terminator 2. For a long time, I really loved Terminator 2. But then me and you sit down and to watch Terminator 1 and 2. And then I realized that Terminator 1 was actually a much better movie than Terminator 2.
I really liked Terminator 1. That was intense. It got me, like, I got excited. Like, it was also a thriller. Like, it was just really well done. The build-up was well done. It was a simple plot.
You literally mentioned, pointed
Like-
out the fact that it was just a psychological thriller with slasher movie.
Yeah, it was a slasher movie.
It was just a slasher movie. And I
With
think
a robot,
Number
yeah.
2, well, that's the new thing, right?
So was Aliens, but I like Terminator better.
Okay, so Aliens 1 was also a slasher movie with aliens in space. Terminator
Which,
1
yeah, I didn't like
was
that movie.
a regular movie with okay. You watch
Well, I
hold on,
didn't,
hold on.
I didn't.
You watch Jason, like the Jason movies, and like apparently he can't be killed, he can't be stabbed, he can't be shot, he can't be set on fire. But like then you're like, "Oh my god, supernatural aspects." It's not as believable. But all of a sudden a robot shows up to Earth or to present time, and then you can't shoot it, kill it, or destroy it for the most part, and you're just forced to run from it because technology is not good enough to defeat it, which is a more realistic subject, so you're more likely to be invested in the characters.
And just that last scene where he's like coming at her and like that was awesome.
In the
Like it was
factory.
just just the way that she even defeats him. Like it was Terminator 2 was not.
But why do most people think Terminator
Because you guys
2
were boys when you saw it, and there was a little boy in it, and you could identify with that little
it's
boy.
child wish fulfillment. That's exactly what it was. It's child wish fulfillment. Everyone saw Terminator 1 and wanted the robot of their own. Terminator 2 fulfilled that role by sending the Terminator back to protect you. Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger, my own personal hero from childhood, was in that movie.
What other movies of Arnold Schwarzenegger do you like?
See, that's hard to answer right now because again, when I'm young and dumb, I can watch a movie like Commando where he just kills everyone. Like you watch clips of that movie now as an older grown up, and you realize he's got like unlimited ammunition in all of his guns.
Okay,
Like he
but
just keeps shooting without reloading any ever. I think someone did a funny mock-up of like how many bullets he wasted, and so they did like an audio clip, continuously counting every time he shot something before he reloaded. And they're like, he gets like hundreds of rounds from a 30-round clip. I'm older. I'm too smart to like enjoy it anymore. You can't shoot 300 times
okay.
and without reloading. It's just
Maybe
not
maybe
feasible.
I'm okay. So maybe I am biased, and I will argue that movies in the '90s specifically were really really good compared to the other decades. And I understand, like I agree with you to the extent like I've gone back to watch certain movies that I watched when I was younger, and they weren't as good as I remember them. But some of them actually are.
Like
Some
what?
of them really do stand up. Okay, so like for example, like I went on a rampage where Blade Runner was like shit. So like
Okay,
that's like a movie that I don't think would have really stands up in time. Whereas Die Hard, for example, I actually thought was really good. It was well done. It was well acted. The suspense was good. Just how the act, like I don't know, like the plot, the Alan Rickman, like I love him. He was incredible. He's incredible in whatever he does, though. But like just all like it was just a really really good movie. Like that stands up. What else did we watch? That was like an older movie. Aliens was good. Like I'm just not a fan of I think Terminator was better. But Aliens was still good, but it was still like an alien slasher movie.
It was an alien slasher movie.
And I
again,
don't
it's
think I
another
liked
enemy.
the end. I don't know. I
What
just
was
I don't
the
know.
end?
I kind of felt I think she gets onto the I don't
Which
know.
one are you remembering? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's it. That's the other thing. Anyway, whatever. It was okay. 12 Monkeys. That one I think stands up in time. Although that one I guess is a 90s movie.
It is a 90s movie, yes. Wait, is it?
I loved One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I think that movie was incredible. So yeah, like, and so now I'd have to refer to the list of like other movies that, but like for example, Scarface, like I don't think was a good
It's
movie.
a 1995 movie, yeah. Scarface? No, I don't care about Scarface. Scarface does not reach my wish fulfillment of becoming an ultra powerful drug lord with all the guns. That's literally not my wish
I
fulfillment.
was super bored and fast forwarded a lot of that movie.
I'll talk to a lot of people who do like Scarface, and a lot of them like Scarface because they also want to be drug kingpins with all the power and all the money and all the cocaine. That's not a productive thing to be in society.
I just remember all the boys in my high school like really love that movie. Like
High
it's
school
just-
wish fulfillment. He could have all the bitches and all the hoes. He can have all the
Yeah.
money and all the cars. Wish fulfillment. Most movies are wish fulfillment. I personally enjoyed. What did I enjoy? What's his face in? Al Pacino. Like Al Pacino's in a lot of good movies. A lot of good movies.
I can't think of any right now.
Okay.
But I know I've seen him in other stuff that I like him in.
Okay. That one where he's a blind veteran. He yells hoo-ha a lot.
I don't think I've seen that. Although, see, now I'm taking things back because, like, all of the Lord of the Rings movies, but especially the first two, I really, really, really love. Like, and I've rewatched those hundreds of times. And those came out, like, later. Like, but those were earlier 2000s. So it still doesn't meet my past 5 years criteria, where I can list a bunch of shows that have come out in the past 5 years.
So he was in The Godfather. Scent of a Woman was definitely that was the one where he yelled hoo-ha a lot.
I haven't seen
Heat,
that.
I didn't like Heat. He ruined it for me. Carlito's Way was.
I haven't seen
okay.
that either. It's been like on the list of movies to see for years, but I've never seen it.
Dog Day Afternoon was okay. So Dog Day Afternoon. Spoilers. I'm gonna just call this spoilers. Movie spoilers. The podcast.
Yeah.
He plays. I think that's the right one. Him and his boyfriend rob a bank. This is from 1975. Him and his boyfriend rob a bank, and they need the money to get a transgender operation for his boyfriend. And then he slowly tries to get the crowd, like he's in a hostage situation. And he slowly tries to get the crowd on his side versus the SWAT team that's ready to kill him.
Wow.
Yeah,
That seems like an awesome movie, actually.
That was pretty good. Serpico, I don't remember what that movie's about.
I have to add that to my app. That seems good.
Sure. Insomnia.
So just as you're doing that,
Ocean's 13. I didn't know he was in Ocean's 13.
I really loved Ocean's 11, the first one. Not the old version, like the Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Like that movie stands up still. Like I rewatched that movie so many times and it's still incredible.
Oh, he was in Geely. Although, here's another interesting movie from 2002, Simone.
I've seen that movie and I actually liked it, but it got bad critics. It got bad reviews at the time or something. Like people didn't like it.
That's the one where he creates an artificial, artificial intelligence. No, what is the whole point? I don't think
It's
I've
like
seen
an
that movie.
AI. I don't remember. It's not a memorable movie.
He creates an AI entertainer, and then when he decides to quit programming her, people assume that he murdered her, and he's put on trial. I think he's put on trial or investigated by the police. For her murder, basically because she vanishes. And the last person she had contact with was him, but it was such an impressive artificial intelligence kind of thing.
Well,
Whatever, that was that.
I mean, the other hypothesis that we could put forward, and just going through Al Pacino's movies, you can kind of see. Do you think that as time has progressed, directors are relying on technology to make their films more than character development? And maybe I'm just a character development person, because like even with like Lord of the Rings, like that's a high, like most of the like the epicness of that movie was the special effects. Even
Which one?
Lord of the Rings, and like
Well,
those old
you know the one memorable story about filming Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit. Which one was it? Where the old guy who plays Magneto broke down and started crying?
Oh, that was during The Hobbit. Because then, like apparently most of that movie was filmed in front of the green screen, and Ian McKellen, Ian McKellen, Magneto. Which
I literally have like memes of him breaking down and crying because the entire scene is shot with him and just green screen everywhere.
And he's like, "This isn't acting anymore. Why am I even here?"
Yeah, this is not why he became an actor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm going to eat my words later and I hope that people in the comments, please list like movies that have come out recently, because I'm sure I've seen them and I just can't think of them. And like, I'm sure there's great movies that have, like, I mean, there's another movie but they don't seem memorable. Like they don't imprint on you. Like I liked,
Yeah, that's the problem. You have to stop and think about what you liked.
Yeah, like Gattaca, for example, that movie to me is one of those that stands out. Gattaca, and what was the other? Even Equilibrium. Like I've only seen that movie once, but that like I can remember that.
That's not a '90s movie though.
Okay.
See, that came out after The Matrix. That's why it has such bad reviews or whatever. People are like, "Oh, it's just a rip off of The Matrix." No, it's a combination of 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, because they burn all the books to get rid of everything, but they also dose everybody to live in a state of constant whatever,
like
monitoring.
no emotion. Yeah, it's cool. I like movies that are thought provoking in some way. I don't know.
That movie was thought provoking, but it also had gung fu, which made it awesome. They invented their own martial arts that revolves around using guns as like not just shooting, but also the best way to shoot people, and the best like it was interesting enough to be one of those sci-fi movies you want to sit down and watch. The problem is it had a really low budget, and they're very like they actually didn't have a low budget. It had some pretty good actors in it. And
Christian Bale.
And the guy who always dies in every movie. What's his name?
Sean Bean.
Yeah, Sean Bean was his partner in the beginning of the movie, and then he got shot in the face. Spoilers.
So we should look at his profile, because he's been in really good movies.
Okay.
But just so in our conversation last night, so we mentioned one movie that both of us really, really love, and one that gave me paranoia when I was younger when I watched it, A Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind.
So for me, that movie is incredible, and gave me a huge fear of schizophrenia, which is why I always have this need to introduce people I know to other people to make sure that I'm not making them up.
That's the one with Kevin Spacey who
No.
tries to.
A Beautiful Mind is the one with
Wait, I'm
Russell
thinking about
Crowe.
American Beauty. Right. Never mind. Yes. Okay. Russell
Wait,
Crowe.
and he with who's the name of the John Nash or
John Nash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That one.
So wait, you weren't talking about A Beautiful Mind last night? When you said a movie that you really loved?
I did like A Beautiful Mind, but there's a problem with A Beautiful Mind. Since I grew up and learned a lot more about John Nash, I've learned to like that movie less because of how inaccurate the depiction of John Nash is. Apparently, he was like a straight up sociopath and a piece of shit to everyone he ever met. He was playing the game that he invented, literally, the prisoner's dilemma, with every step of his entire life. He invented it and he made sure it was something to live by.
Okay.
But not only to live by. If any of you actually followed my instructions to watch The Trap, you will actually know that him and Sigmund Freud's cousin got together in a think tank and decided to play a little game on the American people. Literally enacting. How does this go? They decided that if you gear everybody towards only acting in their own self-interest, then society would be a lot easier to control, and therefore, that's what the Trap is about. It's literally the guy who invented advertising, Sigmund Freud's cousin, and John Nash getting together and working for the American government to be like, we can just propagandize the shit out of everybody until we can have a sheep-like society that will just follow the trends we want them to follow. They'll be really easy to control, and society will be great.
So is that maybe another one of those movies that I need to go back? Like it's not as good as you remember it?
No, A Beautiful Mind isn't as good as you remember it because literally John Nash is like a hero in that movie.
Not really, though. He actually still seems like a jerk, but he still seems like a victim.
He seems like a victim, but again, the kind of shit that he pulled in his real life kind of makes you feel like he deserved a lot of what he got. Yeah, okay, so he like drowned his child.
And the schizophrenia thing was used as a plot twist. And so maybe that's why I liked it. I really also like the butterfly effect.
Oh, but that's a conspiracy theory, though. Whether he was schizophrenic or not. Because he was involved in actual CIA, KGB fucking operations.
Oh, right, because that was the thing.
Right. The whole point was that he was involved with the government for the majority of his life. He was involved with the CIA, the FBI, and the KGB.
Oh, my God, so he could have actually been, like, all of those people could... That makes it so... Oh, wow, that's so much more interesting.
See, once you know more about his life, then yeah, absolutely. The movie ends with him being being revealed to him that he's not actually part of any government program or operation to help to literally fight the Soviets, right?
And then all they do is flash forward to him being old and winning the Nobel Prize after. Like they don't talk about all the stuff in between. They talk about his very early life too, like in the first few years when he starts like developing and stuff. I wonder, like, I watched the Intimidation Game, and that one's on the guy who, something Turing, who,
John Turing?
Yeah, and they definitely put him in a nice light. That movie was like,
he was a homosexual during the time where it wasn't necessarily good to be a homosexual.
But he was also a little bit of a dick and autistic-ish.
Take into consideration the year in which we're seeing those movies and what the programming that literally I'm talking about the programming. I was just talking about John Nash's literally. Okay, I'm talking about John Nash helping the U.S. government or certain black projects come up with a solution to how to control the people more easily. And now we're moving into the state like the literal positioning of Hollywood to propagate certain ideologies and make certain people look more favorable.
You haven't actually seen that movie, and
I don't need to see the movie. I know his history.
No, but him being gay is like really actually not the major. Like it's kind of used as a character thing, but it's really not. It's mostly about the work. Like it's mostly about him trying to figure out and the pressures of like the war that was happening. Like that's just a minor plot feature that's used in the end to close everything, like how he doesn't get credit for what he did, but the movie itself was actually about what he did, and it was a well done,
which is actually fundamentally false, because here we are like 70 years down the road being like, we knew he was gay and we invented the computer. He may have not gotten his credit back in the day.
Yeah, but
considering he was working on secret fucking government projects to make sure that we can fight off against our enemies. Makes sense why he wouldn't have gotten a lot of stuff.
Well, it's like the same thing with Tesla, because everyone's like, "Oh, Edison stole," but like everyone acknowledges Like, I don't know anybody on the planet who does not think that Tesla and Edison had that thing. Like everyone's, which leads me to another movie that was also a really good movie that came out post '90s, The Prestige.
Did you say okay? Post 90s, fine. Yeah, The Prestige.
That movie, I've also seen that, and that one stands up. Also, Chicago. I'm a huge fan of musicals, and Chicago is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I am not a huge fan. Wait, is Prestige the one where he makes clones of himself?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. And he's the Nikolai Tesla's in that movie
Yes,
as a
Nikola
character.
Tesla's in that movie for a fraction of a second to show you that he knows how to transmit electricity wirelessly throughout everywhere all the time, and shows you how to build a teleportation machine. But it's not actually a teleportation machine. Spoilers. It's actually a cloning machine. It's a duplication machine.
Mm-hmm. But the twist in that movie was about the fact that he had a twin his entire life, and that he was Christian Bale. That was also a Christian Bale movie, actually.
The twist was
Who
that
was
he's
in that
willing to
movie?
murder himself. Okay.
Oh
First
yeah,
of all,
it was Hugh Jackman.
Okay, stop. First of all, this has been an ongoing philosophical argument. This is why this movie is very heavily rooted in philosophy and therefore make believe. The question is, if you can teleport from let's say you wake up in the morning, you get dressed, and you get into a machine that teleports you to school. It takes you and teleports you to school. Would you do it? The catch is that it doesn't actually teleport you. The catch is that it creates a complete duplicate of you over there, and it has to kill the current you.
Yeah, well, his trick was to kill the current
because
they were magicians.
Because when you watch things like Star Trek, that's one thing they don't explain to you. They don't actually take the atoms and move them. They just disassemble you.
Yeah, they talk
and
about
only
that in
reassemble you
Fringe.
somewhere else. Yes.
Which is also a really good show. I thought Fringe was a good show.
Fringe was a good show up until the last 2 seasons where they turned it into a garbage show.
No, the second last season, but I still like that J.J. Abrams managed to answer more questions in French.
Go back to the question. Would you do it if you knew that your teleportation would not be teleportation? What happens is it takes the you that currently exists and atomizes you into pieces and recreates another version of you somewhere else. Therefore, it's not you teleporting. It's just creating a copy of you but killing the real you every time.
The copy is the same as the real me.
Is it the same to you or is it the same to me? Because it's not the same to me and it's not the same to you because the original you is gone. This is why the philosophical question stands. Yeah. Would you do it?
But in the movie,
it's like that same question when you have a ship and the captain tells you to take care of the ship. And then the captain leaves somewhere. And then while the captain leaves, like a part of the ship gets broken. So you replace it with a new part. And another ship, and another part's broken. So you replace it with a new part. But you take all the old parts and actually stick it onto, just leave them in a pile. But at the end of like the 50 years that he's gone and just leaves you in charge, you have a pile of the old ship and the current new ship that's all retrofitted, brand new. So you take all the old parts and reassemble them.
That was originally the story about a boat.
So which one's the real ship?
Yeah, once all the parts have been replaced, is it still the same ship?
Right. Which one is the real ship is the question.
It's
the same thing when it comes to humans. If you are completely broken up into pieces and are literally killed and another perfect replica of you is created somewhere else, is that you? It's not.
Well, you think it's not. That's the question.
It's the definition of you.
But if it's been...
It's the literal definition. It's not. You have been atomized. You've been killed. You've been destroyed.
Whatever. That wasn't the point in the movie, though, because it wasn't teleportation. He was literally cloning himself. I think they were magicians who were competing.
He was
killing the copy. Yeah, and he didn't know which one would be which. So he didn't know if he was going to die in the experiment and the clone...
Of course he knew he was going to die. They took the hat and they showed you the hat. The original hat stays. A new copy's created. This isn't the question. The question
right, but he didn't know that the copy would be the version that dies in the magician show, or if he would be the one that dies.
No, they knew who it was because he would have to kill himself every time. Every time he chose to perform. This is why the movie. No, this is literally why the movie is impressive. This is why the movie leaves you with a psychological imprint. This is why the movie forces
I
you
don't
to
think
ask
that's
questions.
the actual
because
twist of the movie.
Every time you perform the trick, the current person who's performing the trick gets dropped into a tank and drowned to death. while the new person that's rebuilt gets to show up and take over. This is the imprint. This is the prestige. This is the self-sacrifice that the entire movie is built around.
No, the entire movie was that his rival had a twin the entire time.
The self-sacrifice that you have to undergo. The entire movie was built around self-sacrifice. Did you not catch the
No,
themes
the
of
entire
self-sacrifice?
movie was about competition and unhealthy rivalry. It was about the two magicians competing against each other. He didn't
Self-sacrifice. You can keep yelling over me. It's self-sacrifice.
for the show, for the sake
Yes,
of magic.
it's the self-sacrifice that you have to perform. Whether he's willing to go one step above everybody else and literally kill himself every time.
Yeah,
That's
but the
twist.
twist
No,
twist.
No. The twist was that the old fucking Chinese man, spoilers alert, held a fucking fish tank between his legs and had to suffer with it and literally live as a cripple the entire time. The other guy literally had to fucking live with two twins at one life. That was their self-sacrifice.
Yeah,
So
that
even
was
when
what the twist
so
was,
even
though.
when one, spoiler alert, cut his fucking finger off, the other one had to do it as well.
Yeah, that was
self-sacrifice. His self-sacrifice is to literally kill himself with every time he performs a trick.
You see it as self-sacrifice, but I see it as like
Oh, it doesn't matter how you see it.
wanting to
No,
win
it doesn't-
so much that's how
It
far
doesn't
they
matter
go.
how you see it. That's literally self-sacrifice. How far you're willing to go. It is literally how far you're willing to sacrifice
You guys
yourself.
don't see it, but
your
I'm
sanity.
rolling my eyes. I wish I had you need to
Well,
create
whenever you're ready to come in front of the camera, you can just step in front
I
of
need
it.
like
There's
a
the
roll
camera
eye
right there.
emoji
Look,
here.
right there.
I'll make this
Ooh.
signal every time I roll my eyes at you.
I'm sorry. The underlying theme of the movie is self-sacrifice.
Anyways, it was a fucking good movie though, right?
Yeah.
It was I thought that one was a really good movie.
Sure, but we've seen Jesus kill himself. So what like?
Aha.
Oh, by the way, guys, that is the ultimate joke, right? How? Sorry, I'm gonna get postmodern this time.
You've yet name a movie. You've yet to actually focus on movies, and yet to name
Terminator 1, Alien 1. We focused on Die Hard 1. As long
Those
as
are
it's
all
one.
stuff I listed. You've yet to name a movie.
Right, but I also want to get into the topics of the fact why I like Terminator 1 more than I like Terminator 2, and you sidetracked the subject. I want to get into the other one, and you sidetracked the subject. So you're going to keep sidetracking
No, I'm trying to focus on the subject.
Well, the focus of the subject was Terminator 1, and you moved to Die Hard. And then we talked about Die Hard. And you
We're
moved to-
talking about movies.
We are. Those are movies. I need another beer. You want to go get me a beer?
I do have to pee.
All right. So while she's gone, I'm going to.
Go on your whatever point you want to make that I keep sidetracking you.
You're not sidetracking me from making a point. You're sidetracking some other bullshit. The point is that how much of a sacrifice did Jesus really make for our sins if he is God? And if he is God, how much of a sacrifice did he make knowing that he'll just be back 3 days later? It's not much of a sacrifice, is it? If you know you're just going to take a weekend off from living. That's it. The plot of the movie revolved around self-sacrifice. And they all sacrificed. Unlike Gremlins, where it was just don't feed them after midnight. That's like the Gremlins and your girlfriend. Don't feed her after fucking midnight. And I guess we're back.
So you said Terminator 1, you remember Terminator 2 being better because you were younger. And you've generally made the argument in which that the movies that you watched when you were younger, you see in a more positive view.
No, I said no. I remember watching Terminator 2 before I watched Terminator 1. That movie has a lot of murder in it and a psycho robot. I watched Terminator 2 later, Terminator 1 later, and I feel like I liked second one better than the first one. My question was, why did I like the second one better than I like the first one when I first watched them? Which again was within a couple of years range. As it turns out, watching them significantly later, I realized that Terminator 2 is mostly a garbage movie for children to create wish fulfillment for kids who wanted all-powerful robots to do their bidding for them. That is not the person I am. That's not the person I want to be. That's not even the person recognize anymore. The fact that at the end of that movie, when the Terminator went, "I understand why you cry, John Connor." This is garbage. It's garbage.
Yeah.
It's literally garbage. Why he did a thumbs up as he was melting. Fuck that. Like fuck it.
It's
Fuck it
so
all.
dumb. Yeah.
The fact that he kept fucking using one-liner catchphrases that haunted him for the rest of his goddamn career that were actually garbage lines.
Was the first movie rated R?
Yes, the second movie was also rated R.
It was?
Yes. The fact that
Are you
fucking
sure?
7-8-year-old me watched the first one, watched the second one before they watched the first one, it is. I'm sure I watched the first one at some point too. It had a sex scene. I think we saw what's her name's tits.
Terminator 2, 1991.
How can it
Where
not be
is
rated
the
R? You see
rating?
people getting stabbed in the face.
No, it's rated PA, where the original 1984 one
What the fuck
is rated
PA?
R.
What the fuck is PA?
So that's like PG.
No, PA is not PG. PG is PG.
It was whatever. It's PG. Yeah, no. The first one was 9084, was rated R. So maybe we should focus on adult movies versus kid movies. 'cause
Okay,
that's
fine,
like
but-
not a.
Fine. Let's give them that. The original movie was an actual movie. The second movie was cash grab for children. And we all know that the motherfucker who did the Avatar series and the stupid fucking Titanic series absolutely had children in mind when he shoved tits into the Titanic and said, "Hey kids, 13 years or
And
older."
it was James Cameron, by the way.
Yeah, the same guy who did Avatar and Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Did he do the second one though? Yeah, he did do
He
the
did.
second one. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, tits into the Titanic. I literally know a Turkish guy who was how old was he? 13? I think he was 13. He went to go see the Titanic 3 times just to see tits. This
Yeah,
is
Titanic doesn't stand up.
This is
in time.
before the internet, of course. Kids, remember, before the internet, you have to be 13 years of age to see the Titanic in theaters, and then you go and watch it 5 or 6 times because you don't have the internet to look at porn. Now you guys just pull it up on your phone, or your friends just send you porn. I envy you. I literally envy you. I was born in the wrong decade. I should have been born like 300 years before this when I could fight with a sword, or I should have been born about 600 years into the future when like everyone's just naked all the time.
You said you didn't like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
It was a
love that
boring ass
movie.
movie, and I didn't understand why the guy killed him and then threw a sink through the window and ran away. Spoilers.
I did.
You understood why?
Yeah, because they lobotomized him.
That doesn't mean you should murder somebody and then throw a sink through the window and run away.
But he asked him to. Because the same thing was going to happen to I see, you have to just remember, I'm a psych major, so anything to do with, like I liked, so another movie that actually,
Finish a sentence, at least one of those.
no, because this is more interesting. There's reasons why. I even interrupt myself. This is why you can't take it personally.
I don't take it personally. I'm just going to interrupt you loud.
But, Shutter Island. I didn't like that movie the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, I actually liked it a lot more and thought it was a really good movie. So that's another movie that came out in past
That's another
2010.
movie we watched recently. That was supposed to be really good, Shutter Island-y. What was that bullshit movie with the water? That garbage water movie where everyone's like, drink water, it'll make you better. And then there was actually eel parasites inside the water. It was spoiler alert.
Oh, I don't even remember.
fuck.
I block out things.
The cure to wellness or some bullshit like that.
I don't even remember. Was it one of those movies I started getting angry
You remember
at?
the guy kept trying to have sex with his daughter? Spoiler alert.
No, I must have. Like, when it's really
we
irritating.
sat down and we thought it was going to be another Shutter Island-like movie with a lot of quirkiness in it, and it was the guy who went to go. Okay, is the corporate head who went to go to Sweden or some shit like that to retrieve the other corporate head to take the fall for the company being a shit company. While he was there, he got admitted into a psych hospital. And then the whole point of the psych hospital was built on.
Are you sure I was there?
Yeah, it had the whole.
I remember that stupid Discovery movie we watched with the guy from How I Met Your Mother, where he apparently found the discovery to afterlife. It was one of those Netflix movies. See, there's sometimes I think like our brains just like when only one of us has to pay attention.
Okay,
'Cause-
do you remember the guy who was trying to rape his daughter, and the entire time there was a manic pixie dream girl who was obsessed with the water, frolicking around the mental institution facility. There was.
Not at all.
It turned out at the end that she was the brain damaged child of his wife that died hundreds of years ago. And he was just trying to find the cure to immortality, which he was using the eels to pump them into people's stomachs and then refining the eel juice inside of their sweat and collecting their sweat inside of giant machines. And then the concentrated eel juice would make him live forever. Hence why he was hundreds of years old.
I remember something about some cages. Were people in cages?
No.
No. No clue what you're talking about.
Just look it up. The Cure for Wellness.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be one of those weird psychological thrillers, and you're supposed to be questioning whether, like, he got beat up at the bar because the girl was drinking for the first
Doesn't
time.
matter. If it was shit, why are we? It doesn't matter. It was bad.
It was
We
bad.
wanted.
It was so bad.
We wanted to talk about good movies.
We haven't yet to get to it.
Because we can't. So every time I name a good movie, though, you like.
No, we named a few. 12 Monkeys, Die Hard, Terminator 1, Aliens 1.
So Emily, the number one top-rated movie on IMDb, and I brought this up last night. Also, The Shawshank Redemption,
Oh my god.
and
Why?
I love that movie.
I understand why people love that movie. I understand that people love that movie. The question is, why do you love that movie?
'Cause it's
What
good.
is it? No. I know it's good. It was one of the first. Okay, used to be a movie buff. I used to hang out in fucking movie stores. I used to fucking run my dad's movie rental fucking place. I understand movies. I loved movies. I just gave up on movies a while ago. I think the movie that broke me was it Grandma's House or some shit like that? Fuck, what was that movie called? It was a bunch of the bigger actors in a stoner movie.
Although naming stoner movies, there were two good movies that came out again in the later 2000s. Tropic Thunder was fucking hilarious and amazing, and I love that movie, and I don't care what anybody says. And Pineapple Express was also hilarious and so funny and so much better than Half Baked, which was the worst stoner movie ever.
You think Half
I
Baked
was
the
so
worst?
bored in that movie, so bored.
Different times, literally different times.
So bored.
Also, do take into consideration that Half Baked was one of those movies that the creator himself hated. Do you remember?
Okay, yeah, because it sucked.
Because Dave Chappelle literally went, "What the fuck? What the fuck, guys? I made a stoner movie, and he made it a marijuana movie for children."
It was really boring. But Pineapple Express was hilarious. And
I
also,
have yet to see Pineapple Express, so I don't give a shit. Also,
It's-
I'm not a stoner anymore, so I also don't give a shit.
But
also, I
also-
don't give a shit about stoner comedies. They're not
but
funny.
also, out of the Kevin Smith movies,
Oh my god.
I actually have to say that my favorite movie of his was the one that came out probably the latest, or one of his later
Was
movies.
it Walrus?
No, Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I love that movie. I enjoyed Jay and Silent Bob, but they were okay. After that, Dogma,
Okay,
I
first of all-
loved.
First of all, I need to get this out of the fucking way right now. Okay, first of all, Kevin Smith did 5 movies that matter at all. He did Clerks.
It's
He
okay.
did Mallrats, which takes place the day before before Clerks. Then he did Chasing Amy, Dogma, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
And out of all of those, I really like Dogma, and then Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Okay, Zack and Miri Make a Porno was not in that list. Now, what we do see is that he had a thing going. Right? He had a thing going. He had a thing going with Jay and Silent Bob appearing in movies, doing a lot of talking, people doing a lot of talking in interesting environments. Okay, it was interesting to see a bunch of convenience store clerks and movie rental guys talk shit about stuff. That was fun. It was interesting with a bunch of fucking mall rats talking shit about comic books and fucking shit up.
It's like what YouTube had not yet become yet.
Whatever. Chasing Amy was also kind of interesting because he breached subjects that most of us weren't familiar with, like homosexual relationships. Dogma was him shitting on Catholicism. Jay and Silent Bob
hilarious.
Strike Back was literally his ruin because he took all the money he made and all the connections he made and shoved everyone into a movie to be like, haha, fan service. And that's it. It should have ended there. And then he should have gone on to make more serious movies. Instead, he went on to fucking make Jersey Girl. Has anyone fucking seen Jersey Girl? Anyone know what that fucking movie's about? It's Ben Affleck fucking trying to take care of a child after his mom died with someone else playing his dad. Literally, nobody remembers that movie. After that, he did garbage. Just trash.
He didn't do anything else?
He did Clerks 2, which was funny in a sense that he made fun of a lot of funny stuff. But then it wasn't a movie that he made for $10,000 anymore. It was a movie he made for like $37 trillion fucking million with all the famous actors. Like, what's her name? The chick from Daredevil, the nurse. She was in that as the main fucking love interest.
Rosario Dawson?
Yeah, she was the main love interest for Dante in that movie.
Oh.
Fuck.
She's
Why?
been in a lot of things. I really like her. She's a good actress.
You say that.
She's also in she's in Rent, and I have a thing for musicals. I'm just saying.
Me too. Anyway, point is that Kevin Smith has his original 5. They're worth watching. Everything else is kind of eh. He's got too much money, too much fame, and too much power. He became too much of a cult classic, just like Quentin Tarantino.
Which is what I was going to segue into, because number 5 on the list.
Wait, what was the other 4?
Okay, so number 1 is Shawshank. 2 and 3 are Godfather 1 and 2. Number 4 is The Dark Knight, but I've already...
Godfather 1 and 2, I have not actually seen.
I've never
I remember
seen them either.
nothing about them, and I think Godfather 1. My English teacher tried to show us in English class because he was a shitty English teacher and he refused to make us read the book. He just showed us the movie. The problem with the movie is because I couldn't hear a goddamn thing happening in the movie over the violin fucking solos happening the entire time. Garbage.
The world's tiniest violins.
No, not the world's tiniest violins. The world's fucking loudest violins playing over every scene where people are talking quietly. Fuck you. Remaster the fucking movie or master it right the first time. Then I'll fucking give a shit about it.
Well, I'm sure they've done that since.
They have. We did watch the remastered version. It was still too fucking loud.
I've never sat down to watch Godfather in my entire life, so we didn't. It's like on those...
Not we, I said school.
Oh, okay.
I will not sit down to watch Godfather again. It's fucking useless.
I might one day in life.
Well, okay.
Number 4 is The Dark Knight.
Which one's The Dark Knight? The one with the Joker or the one with the Scarecrow?
The one with the Joker.
The one with the Joker and Scarface. Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
Two-Face?
Mm-hmm.
Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Scarface or Two-Face?
Two-Face.
Two-Face?
Two-Face.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because one of his faces is scarred.
Yes. It melts or something.
That movie was all right. It could have been
good.
cut up into 2 movies and been maybe better.
Maybe not, though. Like, maybe a little bit too much is not always better. I just think.
I felt like that movie was going to end 3 times. I did love the movie. It was great. It's the best Batman movie anyone's made thus far.
I agree.
Okay, but I don't think it deserves to be in the top movies of all time.
Well, it's number 4 on IMDb.
What's number 5?
12 Angry Men, which I've never seen.
I think I have. I don't remember anything about it, so that should tell me everything.
It's a 1957 movie. So, Schindler's List, which I have also never seen.
Nope, I haven't seen that either.
And I don't think I will.
It's about Nazis and Jews, which means it makes it onto the list because of guilt.
No, there's a lot of movies about Nazis and Jews.
Yes, there are.
But this one's apparently actually good.
So people keep telling me.
Yeah. Number 7 is Pulp Fiction. 94 seems like a good year for movies. Because Shawshank also came out in 94.
Wait, let's talk about this. You don't like Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is one of my favorites.
I do like Pulp Fiction, but
But
it's not my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie.
Okay, fine. It's one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies.
It's not even... It wouldn't make my top 3 even.
Wouldn't even make your top 3.
No.
Okay, let's talk about Tarantino then.
Tarantino? Honestly, my favorite Tarantino movie is Kill Bill.
1 or 2?
I mean, out of the top 3, 1 and 2 might make the list.
Okay.
I fucking loved Kill Bill. I've watched that movie over and over again. I loved Kill Bill. Maybe it's because I'm a girl. Maybe
female empowerment fantasy.
It could have been. What else has Tarantino done?
Huh.
I liked I even
Reservoir
liked
Dogs?
Reservoir Dogs, better than Pulp Fiction. I thought Reservoir Dogs. I like dialogue, and Reservoir Dogs was great.
Doesn't that say everything?
I don't
She
honestly.
likes
I think
dialogue.
you know what kills me with what my problem with Pulp Fiction is. It honestly has to be Samuel L. Jackson. He's one of those like, you know how there's certain actors that you just can't ever see as anything other than who they are. He's that for me, and so I can't get it. Just can't get it. Yeah, no. Kill Bill was way better. Reservoir
Because
Dogs
it didn't
was
have
better.
Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Reservoir Dogs was better. Tim Roth was incredible.
Tim Roth is great. Okay. Reservoir Dogs is one of those movies where he tributes a lot of the classic movies he thoroughly enjoys. There's long, progressive scenes. If you actually watch the beginning of that movie, is them sitting around a coffee table shooting the shit. There isn't a lot of cuts. It's almost a natural flow of the actors sitting around the table reading their lines. It's really interesting. It has really interesting dialogue. It has really interesting notions, points. It's fantastic. He even shoves himself in there, just fun,
It's
just
awesome.
just so he can sit amongst the greats that he puts in. Harvey Keitel, fucking what's his name, Steve Buscemi, who the fuck else is in that movie? There's a lot of really really good people in that.
Yeah. I mean, if let's fine. I will say Kill Bill 1 is better than Kill Bill 2. Actually, I don't even know. Can I just count them as one movie? Can they just be one?
They were
'Cause
supposed
really
they were
are.
supposed to be one movie. Tarantino even says the only reason they are two movies is because the studio forced them to split them up into two movies.
Well, I'm glad they did because I'm glad
He even
that
said he filmed them all as one, and they were just supposed to be that one thing he likes to do, just shove an intermission between them. He's like, 10 minutes, go fucking piss, go buy more popcorn, keep watching.
Yeah, but then it would have been like a shorter movie, and I'm kind of glad.
No. He filmed the whole.
It would have been 5 hours.
He would have left it as 5 hours. So you go to the theaters to watch a 5-hour fucking movie with a half an hour intermission in between.
I can see why they split it because people wouldn't do that.
But then you buy Kill Bill. Now there's two.
Now that you just buy them together.
Yeah.
Because like there's just, but no, I still would say Kill Bill 1 is better because of the what's her face, the schoolgirl one with the girl with the ball chain. That whole like scene in the like it was incredible.
Piece of movie trivia, guys. The only reason he cuts to black and white during that fight.
No, that's not in that fight. That's in the background of the younger version. No,
What?
with
What?
Coco
Shh,
at the
shh,
end
shh,
of Kill
shh,
Bill 2.
shh.
There's no black and white in. Oh, is there?
When she fights the 88, the crazy 88, the Japanese fucking guys. At some point, the movie literally cuts to a black and white silhouette shot, where
Oh, because they're in the screen, and it's just that was
the
so
black
awesome
and
though.
white scene, the black and white
And then he
silhouette.
slaps him on the head.
And
Oh,
she
so
just
good.
chops people up for hours. The reason he said that scene exists is because the movie rating people said that there's too much blood in this movie. You have to cut out a certain amount of it for us to allow you to maintain your rating. Before it becomes not rated R, because that movie was rated R, triple X. They said they will have to rate it triple X because there's too much violence and blood. So he literally turned it into a black and white silhouette shot just for that. He found an artistic way to get around the rating system.
Honestly, that movie, Kill Bill, made me love violence. Like it showed me the art in violence. Like it was just so good. I don't like just even the part where she takes out the other eye. Oh my god. Like it's just all of it.
One of my favorite parts is when he homages the shit out of anime, and when she cuts Lucy Liu's fucking head, and then she stands there and it just slides off and falls.
Kill Bill 1's definitely actually better. Now that I'm thinking about it, Kill Bill 1, because the Lucy Liu fight and the face, the schoolgirl Coco.
It's Coco.
Oh, that was awesome! Just everything.
Okay.
She was awesome.
One of my favorites parts of Kill Bill 2, though, is the little conversation that she has with when she confronts Bill.
Well, yeah.
And he talks about Superman. He's like, Superman is one of the only superheroes that dresses up with like his secret identity.
Oh, I'm getting chills talking about it. See, that's what a good movie is, though. Like you get excited about it, and I don't feel that Well, I guess that one came out in the later 2000s, but so out of Tarantino.
No, but that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Tarantino knew what it's like. He lived, he grew, he breathed his grindhouse movies that gave him chills when he was younger. Why I love those two directors, Kevin Smith and Kill Bill, regardless of what the fucking bullshit Kevin Smith is doing right now.
Well,
he clearly got to his head.
Tarantino, same thing though. Like we should discuss his later movies.
Okay.
But finish your point.
But Tarantino's later movies, you can see what they are. Kill Bill is a revenge fantasy movie for women.
Well, Django, the best acting I've ever seen Leonardo DiCaprio do is actually in Django.
Well, okay, I completely forgot about Django. Like, he put Jamie Foxx in the role that most people would have assumed Samuel L. Jackson should take. And he showed us that Jamie Foxx can act. That's the weird part.
Jamie Foxx showed that he can act by playing Ray Charles.
I have never seen Ray Charles because I don't give a fuck about Ray Charles.
Yeah, because you don't care about, he showed he can act in that.
I don't care. Look, you can play a blind person all you want. You put on glasses and you pretend like you can't see anything. I'm talking about real acting. Real acting. You know when you see okay. Who's that one guy who's called the chameleon of actors? Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman can play any role, and sometimes I will forget that that's Gary Oldman when I'm watching him. Gary Oldman is a fucking good actor. If you watch his roster of the different types of characters he plays, you will not recognize him picture to picture based on the role that he's playing. He is a fantastic actor who's the chameleon of actors.
Like movies that he's been in?
No, I can't because I literally don't recognize him in anything because that's how good he is. The other guy, Christian Bale. Christian Bale's another one of those actors.
Yeah, I think
he takes on the goddamn roles himself. Okay.
Well, his acting listen. In The Wrestler.
You will see him drop down to 89 pounds for a role in The Machinist.
Yeah, in The Wrestler. That was The Wrestler.
No. In The Machinist, he drops down to 89 pounds. That's smaller than you. He literally dropped his weight to be thinner than you. And then in the next role, he's playing Batman, and he's jacked at like 250 pounds. And then he plays the wrestler, and again he's jacked, and he just switches up, and he's really good. But then again, look,
Jackman is
remember him? Do you remember him in Psycho, American Psycho?
Oh my God! See, that movie stood up too.
That movie stood up. That movie still stands up. But again, that movie is.
I remember that. Like I distinctly remember scenes from that movie. Like you just explained the plot of a movie apparently we watched recently, and I have no recollection of it. But with American Psycho, the scenes have imprinted in my head. Like I can play them out in my head.
Right, but again, that movie was nonsensical. Nevertheless, that movie was fantastic.
See that? So that one stood up.
Still nobody knows what the point of that movie was.
It just doesn't matter.
No one understands the ending. It's like, yeah, he killed a bunch of prostitutes. He did a bunch of fucked up shit. He assumed somebody's identity, and at the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, that was all in your head. And you're like, what? Spoiler alert. Well, people who haven't seen these movies are gonna get fucked.
I know. Also, and I brought this up earlier. Another movie that I think there's some mixed feelings about is The Butterfly Effect, and I actually really thought that was a good movie.
The Butterfly Effect,
yeah,
with Dawson.
No, that's with Ashton Kutcher.
Oh right, Ashton Kutcher. That movie gave us a lot to think about.
Yeah.
That movie was interesting. That movie plays with philosophy and science.
Yeah.
That's less of a plot-driven movie and more of.
But it was also twisted enough to also make it.
Yeah, it's how every minor decision in everyone's life affects your life down the road.
Oh, and of all and so in movies that I have yet to list, one of the best movies of all time that apparently, again, this maybe Memento. And apparently, watching it in order is not as good. Movie. Yeah.
Obviously, that movie would. For those of you who haven't seen Memento, before we ruin it for you, go watch Memento. Fucking spoiler alert! The fucking podcast. Memento is a fantastic movie because you get to experience the movie in. Again, it's not about the plot.
Yeah, it's about the character.
It's about the experience, and the movie completely runs. Okay. The whole point of the movie is that it runs backwards. So you can experience what the character experiences.
Yeah.
The point of the whole thing with the character is he's got short-term memory loss. Just loss. Everything that happens short-term.
So he has 5-minute memory pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. So they play scene by scene the entire movie backwards. So you have no idea how you got there. You only have an idea of what happens next.
And they still managed to create a twist that is so incredible.
Yeah.
even doing like
Well,
it's just
that's why I
oh
own
my
the
god.
that's why I own the special edition of that movie. That movie was
movie's-
fantastic. The
ah.
movie's great. An Easter egg in the special edition is that you can watch the movie forwards all the way through. It's not that good. It's not that great. But the experience.
Well, I've actually heard some people say it's better. So I mean, like it could be, or it might give a different feeling to it, or I don't know. Maybe like you should try if
I
you're
don't listen to some people because some people, well, let's just say that I've gotten really bad movie recommendations over the years.
Yeah.
Really bad.
But yeah, so like out of like the ones that kind of stand out for me, I've already mentioned it. So Memento, Shawshank. I love Shawshank, and
I don't know why. I don't know
Gattaca.
why. I'm sorry. I love movies. I love a lot of
I
different
don't
things.
know,
I
Morgan
don't know
Freeman.
why.
It was a good story. It was just the acting was good in it. You fell for the character, the way his patience, his the fact like you know the fact that you knew he was innocent and just the way like his patience through the situation. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I can't remember.
It's a
But
long,
but
drawn
okay,
out, patient movie.
right. Maybe like okay, maybe that's one of those movies that I also remember being better than it is because I haven't seen that movie recently, but I have seen Gattaca more recently, and I have seen like I've seen Fight Club a number of times, and for me, Fight Club, and Fight Club also like stands out for me because I watched like the commentary and the background, like I became really obsessed when I got into that movie, and a lot of those scenes were improvised, and that's what also makes it like such a good movie. Like in Fight Club, that whole garage part, like when he's in the garage and he's being like the fight scene, like Brad Pitt was making up all of that the entire time. And even when he's in his when he's in his boss's office and the fight scene when he, like they committed to those roles and characters.
Okay, but that's exactly why I actually thoroughly enjoy Brad Pitt as an actor.
He's incredible.
No. He is a horribly underrated actor who is underutilized. That's the problem.
He got bad after Angelina.
He didn't get bad. He got cast in shitty roles. Like the Mexican.
He started casting himself though. He took control of. No, the Mexican was pre-Angelina.
I don't give a shit. The point is, Brad Pitt has range. He's got range. He's a pretty boy, and he got typecasted as a pretty boy for a long time. A lot of people don't know what he's like when he actually acts. This is why I thoroughly enjoy 12 Monkeys, because 12 Monkeys is when he goes fuck the pretty boy aspect. Let's go full crazy. Let's enjoy the role I am playing. He plays a real role, and he's a lot of fun to watch. He's a lot of good to watch. This is why I like 12 Monkeys better than I like Fight Club. Okay. What's the other movie he's in?
Snatch. And we haven't talked about Guy Ritchie because he has a few like Guy Ritchie. Again, I'm saying maybe it's me and you. Maybe we just have a bias for the '90s. We're millennials.
No.
And
okay.
But like
Snatch. Guy Ritchie has two good movies.
Sorry, did I just kick the thing?
It's okay. Guy Ritchie has two good movies. Two of them. He's got Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and he's got Snatch.
Yeah.
All the other shit he's done.
Who did Vanilla Sky? Was that Cameron?
I don't
James
remember
Cameron?
I don't remember who did Vanilla Sky, but I remember him doing Mean Machine, which is a remake of some other bullshit. It's another one of those movies. I don't give a shit. He did Snatch. Snatch was good. It had interesting characters. It had interesting whatever.
It's so good.
But remember who
Stock.
made the fucking movie? No, Lock, Stock was a better movie than Snatch. It took place in the exact same universe as Snatch.
Mm-hmm.
It took place with even some interconnecting characters. But Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was better than Snatch. The only reason Snatch was better is because the people that made it better, like Benicio del Toro, Brad Pitt, and who else?
I don't know.
The guy who played Bulletooth Tony? The guy,
I don't know his name though. He's in like a few things. He always plays the gangster guys though.
Right, he's the main character of Mean Machine, his football fucking movie. And the fuck, what was the other?
I feel like he's in Tarantino movies too.
The guy who what was the fuck is it? Fuck, I can't remember his name. The shaved head, he played the transporter.
Oh, Nathan Statham.
Yeah, it says Jason Statham.
Whatever.
Those people made that movie. That movie didn't have that much
I don't
of a plot.
anything else that he's in though, except for that movie.
He was in The Transporter, and he was in
That was boring.
a bunch of Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah. I guess
What the
yeah.
fuck
You're
are you
right.
gonna do? He was in a bunch of stuff, and
I
he
think
did a
you're
bunch of
right.
stuff.
It was Brad Pitt and Benicio del Toro.
No,
that
but
made
Jason
a-
Statham was also in that movie, but he was also in. Was he not in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels? Was
I
he?
don't remember. I don't remember that.
Whatever.
Actually, I kind of do remember that movie, but I like Snatch better.
Well, most people like Snatch better, but Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is the movie before he did Snatch, which is exactly what he did in. Okay, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is what made Guy Ritchie Guy Ritchie.
What was
People
that
saw-
other movie?
people
Rock and Rolla?
People saw that movie. People went, Guy Ritchie's not that bad. Let's give him another chance. And then they made him do Snatch. And then he did Rock. Actually, Rock and Roll, I think, is the one he did before everything else.
We watched Rock and Rolla, and I still don't remember it though.
That's the problem. When you watch movies and you have no idea what the fuck they're about. If you have no idea what the fuck they're about, how can you say they're good movies?
But yeah, I can like when it comes to Brad Pitt, I really do, and I think like the last good movie he did, and another movie that this is why I'm proving myself wrong in a lot of ways. Burn After Reading. That was a really
I was just
good
about to
movie.
get to that. Yes.
Oh my God.
But Burn After Reading was another one of those movies where Brad Pitt is like, hey, I'm going to do something other than Brad Pitt.
And he was good in Inglorious Bastards, which is another and I
No,
like
no, no, no.
I
Okay,
liked
okay,
Inglorious
okay.
Bastards better than Django and better than
Hold on.
the
What?
Hateful Eight sucked.
Hold on. 1 second.
Hateful Eight sucked.
Brad
though.
Pitt has an issue. It's got one problem. No, it's not Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt? It's not Brad Pitt. Johnny Depp has an issue.
We haven't even talked about Johnny Depp.
I haven't talked about Johnny Depp, but Johnny Depp has an issue. Wow, I jumped.
Johnny Depp is Hunter S. Thompson, and I know you're gonna get into that,
That-
and we
that's
can
my
get into that.
problem.
Can we finish discussing Brad
Fine,
Pitt
we
before
can finish discussing.
I
Brad
will
Pitt.
remember Johnny
Blah,
Depp?
blah, blah.
So
Mr. and Mrs. Smith was the fucking downfall of Brad Pitt.
that movie I also really love though, and I've watched that movie numerous times, and it's a good action
Brad
movie.
Pitt was nothing but Brad Pitt in that movie.
But Brad Pitt's good at being Brad Pitt too. Like he's good at not being Brad Pitt.
Pitt was better. Wait, what was that movie? Michael? When
Meet
he
Joe
literally-
Black?
Sorry, that's it. Meet Joe Black.
That was and so we haven't even talked about Anthony Hopkins.
We have lots of people to cover, but the whole point is that Brad Pitt played an angel / devil, and the whole point of the movie
And
was
the
that
Devil's Advocate. I mean, sorry, not the Devil's Advocate. Is it the Devil's Advocate is the Keanu Reeves movie.
Devil's Advocate is a
No,
Keanu Reeves
the vampire movie he does with Lestat.
Interview with the Vampire.
The interview. Oh my God, that movie was so good and stands up in
there
time.
You go. There's a movie that stands up in time. There's a movie from when? When is that movie from?
That movie's from early like that.
Let's find out.
I don't
Let's take a
know.
look.
But that's also because like when it's good on a good
who
book.
Else? Who else is in that movie?
I also think Tom Cruise, and I know people want to hate on Tom Cruise, he's a really good actor. Mission Impossible, the first one, was really good. Minority Report is a really good movie. In Tropic Thunder, I didn't even recognize him.
You're not. That's the whole point. You're not supposed to recognize them.
What else is he in? I liked Vanilla Sky.
Well, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Kristen Dunst, Antonio Banderas,
Oh God, that movie.
Christian Stellar. God damn, I don't know who this guy is. Remember Christian Stellar? But literally, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise together with Antonio Banderas in a vampire movie.
And you know that, to segue to Johnny Depp, you know that Johnny Depp was, I think, I could be making this up, so fact check people, but I think Johnny Depp was actually supposed to play Lestat, and then they put Tom Cruise in there. But yeah, Tom Cruise also, I think, he's a really good actor. But Tom Hanks, I can only see him as Tom Hanks, except for The Road to Perdition. That was a good movie.
Can I zoom in? Can I zoom in?
No, it's blurry.
Come on, adjust.
But so Brad Pitt, on his list of amazing movies, he has Interview with the Vampire, he has Snatch, he has 12 Monkeys, he has Fight Club. I love Legends of the Fall. Some
Never
people
seen
hated
this.
that movie, but I loved it. He has
I'm gonna take this.
oh my God, what? Okay, just let me pull up Brad Pitt's filmography, and then that's when you can continue to cut.
Optimus Prime left the Discord. So proud of myself.
He's getting into producing, and he's just been shit though. So sorry, Brad. Just go back to acting. Kick-Ass. But see, superhero movies I feel like are a different thing. Kick-Ass, and what was the other movie that was really good? Kick-Ass and Hero? Super. The one with Liv Tyler and the guy who
From The Office?
yeah, who starts putting on a suit and trying to save his
and
ex
beating
drug addict.
people near to death with a wrench?
Yes. Those two movies were also really good.
Okay, fine. But those are spin-offs and spoofs and deconstructionism from the superhero genre.
He's just been producing. Moneyball sucked. He was the producer of Kick-Ass.
Who?
Brad Pitt.
All right. It's fair.
And Eat, Pray, Love. And The Time Traveler's Wife, which I also really liked.
All girly garbage.
Well, those are
Girly
things.
garbage.
How did you feel about The Departed? So you didn't like The Departed, and only another friend that I have also hated The Departed, and she's a film major who like studies film and does directing and stuff.
Yes.
You are the only two people I've ever known who didn't love The Departed. Everybody else I know.
It's a crap movie. I wish it was better. I wish I had time to watch it. I wish I gave a shit. Everyone died in that movie, and that's it. Just everyone fucking died. If I wanted to watch a movie where everyone dies, I would watch Schindler's List.
Fucking World War Z. Tree of Life. People.
There it is, another movie that was complete garbage.
Oh my god, it had nothing to do with the book either. But
Well, neither did World War Z. But there you go. There's another
okay,
one.
so let's go. So now Mr. and Mrs. Smith was 2005. So this is Brad Pitt prior to Angelina and being good. He did Troy. Now people have mixed feelings about Troy. I think he was good in Troy. He played Achilles well.
He played a gay Achilles well.
I mean, it was Greek time though. Like everybody just was naked and having sex with everybody.
That's not true. That's literally not true. The Greeks were particularly gay.
Yeah. The Greeks were particularly gay. And then prior to that, there was Spy Game, which I also remember being a good movie.
No, I actually bought that movie because I thought it would be interesting, and it wasn't interesting.
Okay.
I bought it for a couple of dollars.
Ocean's 11 was an awesome movie. Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
The heist movies.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like the heist movies.
It's the Jewish movie. People.
And then there was Snatch.
Literally, that entire movie's marketing was revolving around the fact that older middle-aged women will go see that movie because it has all the good-looking boys in it.
No, that's not what makes that movie good. It's
Really?
actually like the
who's the top cast in that movie?
George Clooney,
And
Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts.
And
I don't remember anybody else. Oh, is Don Cheadle in that movie?
just go look it up. You'll see. It's a lot of old women will come watch this movie and maybe masturbate.
No, it was a good movie. The heist was good. It's just Julia Roberts. Oh, Matt Damon's also in it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah, those are like the
Literally
main.
the
Bernie
middle-
Mac is also in it, but he had a minor role. But yeah, no, it's Brad Pitt, George Clooney.
Bernie Mac had a minor role in life.
And I get that Matt Damon plays Matt Damon, and George Clooney plays George Clooney, and Julia Roberts
Brad Pitt plays Brad Pitt.
Oh, but I love Brad Pitt playing Brad
and
Pitt.
an Asian guy that was just there to be an acrobat was just an Asian
It
guy
was
to
a
appease
good
the
movie, though.
I mean, see,
fine.
this is when we have a complete disagreement.
Okay, fine,
complete
fine.
breakdown to what makes a good movie to what makes a fucking decent enough movie to put in theaters to make lots of money.
I love that movie.
Why?
Because it was good. It made me...
Next thing you'll say is that you
I
like
liked
Now
her.
You See Me.
I actually didn't mind that movie.
Right,
but I didn't-
exactly. That movie was garbage. That movie relied on 100% special effects to make magic look fucking viable.
Yeah, okay, fine. And you didn't like the Mexican either.
Literally, the second
but I
movie,
love that movie too.
transported them from Vegas to China for fun. And they went, how did this happen? And they went, ha ha ha, magic. And you went, fuck you. Suck a dick. Why did I pay money to watch this movie? The build-up.
I like that movie though because I liked the character, like I liked about how it was playing the long game, like how he You know, it was. I liked heist movies.
Do you know
For
what I
fuck's
really
sakes,
liked?
I like
Do you
magician
know what I
and
really
heist
liked?
movies.
Do you know what I really liked? That was forever of me waiting, and eventually when I got it, I loved it. And part 2 was garbage. Sin City.
Sin City, the first one was good though.
The first one was fan-fucking-tastic.
That movie was so good.
It had all the good actors. It had Bruce
Benicio-
Willis. It
Clive
had Benicio del
Owen.
Toro, Clive Owen.
Oh,
It had
Rosario Dawson's also in that.
all of the patriarchy in it. Just the entire patriarchy was in it.
Elijah Wood's in it. Josh Hartnett's even in it,
Yeah.
and all my generation will remember Josh Hartnett for being.
It's fantastic. It is patriarchy. The movie. It is toxic masculinity manifest. It is every
It's
fucking
so good.
boy's wet dream of being able to fall several flights of stairs, grab a police officer, and land on top of him and survive. It
And
is.
there's that yellow bastard and her and Jessica Alba being Nancy and all victim and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Bruce Willis for a moment?
We're just talking about how good Sin City was.
Because can I tell you,
garbage Sin City 2 was.
yeah, Sin City 2 was garbage. Bruce Willis was awesome. And do you know another underrated movie?
Wait, I did not finish there. I want to explain to people why I think Sin City 2 was garbage. Okay. People have to understand that I read the comic books way before the movie got started. I loved the comic books. I thought Sin City, the first one, was perfect. Fucking immaculate. Even that fucking opening scene. Remember the opening scene when he's talking
with
to
Josh
the chick?
Hartnett. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The
Josh
fucking the made up. That scene doesn't exist in comic books. That was just the test run that a bunch of people got together. Who? Remember who? Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez got together, talked to Josh Hartnett, and said, like, we need to do a test run to see if we can make this movie happen. They got him and the girl. And
Who is the girl too? She's someone.
It doesn't matter.
Too.
They filmed the fucking scene. That movie doesn't exist in the comic books. They said, we have a test. We can show you that we can make this fucking movie happen. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see how far my hair has to go to make it in there.
Too far. And we want to give you a test to see if we can make this movie happen. If we can replicate the feel and the tone of it. And they filmed that scene. That scene was so goddamn good, original writing by Quentin Tarantino, Benicio del Toro, that they fucking put it into the movie as the opener.
I know.
That is passion project. That is fucking love of movie making. That.
But it
is
was
what
Frank
movies are all
Miller.
about. Yes.
Who actually did it?
No, Frank Miller was the guy who wrote the comic books.
That's
And they
right.
brought him in.
I also really liked V for Vendetta. I thought that was a really good movie.
Oh God.
I don't know how it stands up against the comic books or
badly.
whatever,
It
but
stands up so badly against the comic books.
Enjoyed that movie.
That movie literally defeats the point of the comic book, just like Watchmen. Watchmen, I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved Watchmen.
The movie was good.
The movie was so good.
What are you talking about? The movie actually, besides for the whole, they changed.
That's right.
They changed
the thing they changed was exactly the thing that defeated the purpose of the comic book.
Okay, do you want to go through what they changed?
I really don't want to. People that know the comic book know the fucking story. People that know.
Oh right, and what was the main difference? I don't remember.
The main difference was that they chose Dr. Manhattan to be the enemy as opposed to a complete arbitrary.
Oh right. Oh right. That kind of ruined the whole thing. I remember now. But everything up until that was like literally scene for scene. It was very like
it was
the
incredibly
casting.
well done.
The casting was well done. Who played Dr. Manhattan? Who played Eddie? Which again, I fucking love that actor.
Eddie?
He's also the guy who plays the new bad guy in Walking Dead.
Okay.
Negan is the guy who plays Eddie. And he's in a couple other things, and I really, 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 really love him. But now I forgot what I was going to say. We were going to talk about Bruce Willis and the underrated.
We were talking about something completely different, but fuck it. Let's talk about Bruce Willis. Let's talk about Bruce Willis at his best and at his worst.
You had your point about.
I had my point about Sin City and how amazing it was and how true it was and how perfect it was. But how they left by the time they got around to making Sin City 2, it was just garbage.
Yeah,
garbage.
very garbage.
It was so trash. They lost the pacing. They lost the actors. They lost the drive. They lost the efforts. They lost it all of it. They fucked it all up. Sin City, the entire point of Sin City 1 was to build up the original story of why his face got changed, why Marv was so depressed and not fucking doing shit, why everyone was fucking in a rut that they were.
Purnell, the guy who played Hellboy, was in the...
Yeah.
Now I remember, and he's the guy who played the guy in Hand of God, which is also a really good Amazon Prime movie. I really recommend everyone watching that show.
It's a good show.
Sorry, show, because movies suck is the theme of this podcast. But yeah, no, I don't even remember anything about the second movie, but I remember the first movie because it was good, and I remember the distinct scenes, especially the scene with Clive Owen and Benicio del Toro and them driving in the car and him being dead and shot. Oh my God, like those things. Yeah, that was a good movie.
That was a good movie. Number 2 sucked. Anyway, let's move on to Bruce Willis.
And I want to say, so Bruce Willis was amazing in that movie. And sometimes Bruce Willis is one of those actors where on occasion...
Why? Why was Bruce Willis so good in that movie? Because he literally replayed Die Hard. He was, again, a badass detective who was human. Who was literally human. It was Bruce Willis acting as if he's human. He was trying to save the life of a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
He was emotional. He was hurt. He had a heart condition. He could get shot and he
still
died.
Bruce Willis.
He fucking died at the end of that.
And you still saw him as Bruce Willis. And in Die Hard, I still saw him as Bruce Willis. And in
No, but in Die Hard, he was nobody. Nobody knew who he was until he fucking played.
Well, that's what made him Bruce Willis. I guess
that's not what made him Bruce Willis. That's what made him John. John? Is it John?
Everyone's named John.
Whatever.
TV shows have a thing with people named Jack and John. John Snows, John Shepherds, Jack Shepherds. All of the... Anyways, it's a Jesus thing. But anyways, fucking Whole 9 Yards. That movie was awesome. And I've seen that movie like numerous times, and it still stays awesome.
You say things like, why aren't movies good anymore? And then you mention things like The Whole 9 Yards.
Oh, come on.
No, but the movies like The Whole 9 Yards are literally fan service.
What are you talking about?
They're fan service.
It's
you
a
got to see
hilarious
tits.
comedy.
It is a comedy. Comedy? What do you call it?
With a good plot and good acting.
Yes,
and
yes.
Bruce Willis is honestly, that is my favorite Bruce Willis movie.
That's your favorite
I like Bruce Willis when he's being funny.
Fine.
I don't like serious, like Sixth Sense Bruce
But
Willis.
this is exactly why you like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, because he said shit like yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And people are like, he's being funny, but also he's bleeding to death, but also he's about to get fucking shot in the head.
Oh, but he was awesome in Whole 9 Yards.
The Whole 9 Yards was great.
That was a good movie.
Great. It had a bunch of people in it. Do you remember who was in it?
A whole bunch of Matthew Perry was in it.
Who's Matthew Perry?
That girl was also Matthew Perry's from Friends. You don't watch Friends, but anyway. So
that guy. Yeah, he was in it.
Did you know that Brad Pitt is uncredited in being John Malkovich, which was also a pretty good movie?
What was he? Who was he in John Malkovich?
He's uncredited, but I guess he producer had to. But anyway, so we talked about Brad Pitt. Meet Joe Black.
How do we get from Bruce Willis back to Brad Pitt?
Seven. We didn't talk about Seven. That was another Brad Pitt movie. That
was Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and what's his face? The gay guy. The gay sexual
Kevin
molester.
Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. There we go. Where he's now forever going to be known as a gay sexual molester. Kevin Spacey.
So Seven is also one of those movies, and it was another one of those thriller movies. So I guess I have a thing for psychological torture, weird, twisted things. I'm a psych major.
It was interesting.
It was a fucking awesome movie. It was a
good movie. It had decent twists, and it had a fucking.
I think it was a better movie than Silence of the Lambs. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna say it.
Really?
Yep.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yep. Seven was the better movie.
Okay, fine. You can have it if you want it. I don't know if it's better than Silence.
And and I guess we haven't gone into Anthony Hopkins, but
we can't cover every actor
I
ever
know.
that we thoroughly enjoyed.
I know we can. This could go on for hours.
This
we
could
haven't.
go on for several podcasts.
But I'd have to say that in the beginning, when watching the Hannibal TV show series, I really didn't like the guy who played Hannibal because of his accent and stuff. But now, after the series was done and completed and how incredible it was, I actually think the TV show is better than the...
Okay, for those of you who have not seen the Hannibal TV show but have only seen the Anthony Hopkins Hannibal Lecter series,
With all due respect to Anthony Hopkins, I say
with
those.
100% due respect with Anthony Hopkins, he played a great Hannibal Lecter. I do recommend the TV show. The TV show is fantastic. The TV show started off with the premise of a bunch of writers are going to get together and write several new stories. So each season revolves around a brand new story written around the
No, you're wrong.
the detective and Hannibal Lecter. Yes, I am not wrong. It was only the last 3 seasons that revolved around already known stories like Red Dragon. What?
There was only 4 seasons of the entire show.
Yes.
Or 4 or 5, I'm not
Yes,
sure.
but they never got into a large portion of it. They got to the point where Hannibal Lecter escapes.
So Red
goes-
Dragon is supposed to be season 1.
Wrong, but go on.
Well, the season 1 is not supposed to be anything. I think season 2 is supposed to
Season
be...
1 is supposed to be a brand new story. Season 2 is supposed to touch upon the existence of Red Dragon, but not actually.
Season 3 is supposed to...
Literally cover Red Dragon. And season 4 is supposed to cover Hannibal.
Silence of the Lamb, like that's when he gets caught. No,
Silence of the Lambs
actually-
is when he gets caught. Hannibal
That's
is
true.
when he's on the run.
Right, Hannibal is the one, yeah.
Right.
I should actually
So they
rewatch
get to
those.
so they go through it until the point where he gets caught.
To be honest, I haven't seen the movies properly, though.
You have not.
So I don't know, but I actually really enjoyed the TV series.
The TV series is fantastic. It is incredibly high budget. It takes you on psychological thrill rides, and
The acting
the
is
fact that
really
you
good.
know they fuck.
It's fucking Gillian Anderson's in it.
Actually, I've completely forgot Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, because she's a good actress, and you don't remember
That's
who
right.
she is.
No, it's true.
Exactly.
It's true. She was really good. She played an incredibly convincing character, and she's going to be good throughout the entire show. I highly recommend Hannibal as a TV show. It is again underrated. Nobody fucking watched it, so it got canceled.
No, they concluded it.
No, they didn't.
We
because
finished it.
We finished it. They did not conclude it. It was canceled because again, the point was 3 seasons.
both die at
3
the end.
seasons of 3
Spoilers.
seasons of original content, plus they were going to cover all the movies, which they didn't.
Yeah, but they kind of combined all of it together, like
Because
their
they-
original
because
content
they
and
knew
the
they were gonna get
movies.
canceled. They knew they were going to get canceled. They got canceled ahead of time, and then they said, "Fuck it, we'll just conclude it all and shove the last 2 seasons into 1 season," instead of actually dragging it out and giving you what you wanted of a longer, prolonged experience
But
of dealing with.
wow, what like a cool character. Like I don't know. Like I love stuff that's calculated. Like I don't know, and just Hannibal, everything. I guess like I guess in the you open this.
If I open it, I'm going to drink it all.
Let's split it. Okay, finish this.
Go on. You
I
calculated
I
cold?
like. No, I don't like calculated cold. I like the
This
use
is so warm, it's gross.
the use of literary devices in books and in films, and it's about using foreshadowing, using metaphors and similes, like engaging that in your, and even the use of Easter eggs. Like Marvel does this throughout its own, but like planting things throughout the. So if you watch, for example, you talked about never watching Sixth Sense, but a lot of movies with a twist, the reason that I like them is because they actually become better movies when you watch them again. And I mentioned this about Shutter Island. Once you actually realize what the twist is, you start noticing all of the details that the director or the writers put in to build up to that. And even Fight Club, like Fight Club becomes a better movie after you know the twist, because then you actually start seeing the details. Like even in and like I know we want to hate on M. Night Shyamalan's later stuff, but in Sixth Sense, he used the use of colors, right? So like the twist in you haven't seen it, but the twist in the movie is that Bruce Willis is a ghost. Like that's all the
You have
twist.
to
Spoiler
inform
alert.
people. Spoiler alert. Otherwise,
Fucking
they're gonna
spoiler
get really
alert.
mad in the
But
comments.
he goes so
About
far.
30-year-old movies.
He goes so far as to every scene of the movie where there's an actual ghost, he has the color red in the scene. So you start signifying things like throughout the movie. And so when you rewatch it, you start noticing that every time Haley Joel, like the kid, starts interacting with a live person, what the scene is set up as, and when he's talking to a ghost, and you see red in the scene, like red doorknobs, red sweaters, like there's this whole thing of red, like in the scene. I could be exaggerating and making up some of the stuff, but there was a thing with red, and like there's just these little plants in it that make it interesting. And so I think movies that have plot twists, I generally enjoy more because I think that it involves more planning. Like you really have to know where you're going, and you have to really be sure where what the drives and wants of your character are. Your characters can't be reactionary, and I think I just don't like reactionary movies. Which maybe, yeah. Like I wanna understand why characters are behaving in the way that they are. Like I don't.
Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? That's a. Oh God. Okay, this is a whole different subject. This is why there's the neutral face. Because you need to feel like you are relating to that character. This is why I told you I don't relate to 95% of the characters out there, because I can outthink of what they're doing, because I don't believe the things that they're doing are logical or make any fucking sense to the current situation.
Yeah.
When a character runs off and does something retarded for the sake of him doing something retarded, or in the notion that he's just being emotional, then I don't give a shit. I honestly believe I've been in incredibly emotional situations and incredibly difficult situations where I've maintained a huge amount of logic behind it.
Okay, I don't mean doing what I would do. It's you think of it, that's not what I would do. And so therefore that detaches this for you. It's not necessarily what I would do. It's why are they doing, like understanding where they are coming from. And if you haven't, and so like, what do they call the Mary Janes? Like Neo. In Matrix.
The neutral man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even Harry Potter. Like if
it's actually
you
the everyman.
right, like if you read the Harry
Harry
Potter,
Potter's not the everyman, for example, because Harry has that fucking scar on his forehead, and he's a very
but
distinguished
he's like
character.
the chosen one
Neo,
that anyone can
no,
be.
he is written that way, but he's not, because he's got
okay.
very specific circumstances. Neo, on the other hand, is like the everyman. His facial expression is for the everyman. It's neutral. It's for you
The Mary
to.
Sue,
It's for you. No, Mary Sue's completely different. Okay, Neo. If you rewatch the movies, Neo maintains a neutral face throughout 95% of the movie. The reason he maintains a neutral face is for you to literally project your own emotions, feelings, and existence onto.
Isn't that the Mary Sue though?
No, the Mary Sue is literally a woman who can pretty much do anything.
Oh, okay.
There's a male
like she's
version
just good
of
at
it.
everything.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
just
male version?
No. It's not good at everything. It's the Deus ex machina of everything. It's the person who can just do whatever the fuck the plot requires them to do to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
There's the Mary Sue and there's the Gary Stu.
Gary Stu. Okay.
The Gary Stu and the Mary Sue. They're different things because they're different things. Why Riley? Really? What the fuck's her name? I already forgot. Fuck Star Wars. Why she was considered the Mary Sue? Because in one moment she can fucking barter, she can scrap, she can all of a sudden fly the Millennial Falcon because of whatever. She can have a lightsaber fight. She can have the force powers to fucking command people all she wants. She can just do whatever the fuck she wants whenever she wants for the sake of the plot. Which is why the new Star Wars is garbage. Because it literally goes, fuck you, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She's a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. And you're like, but where is the story?
Yeah.
Okay? When you watched the original Star Wars, you saw Luke Skywalker go through the trials. When he first opened up a lightsaber, he didn't know how to fucking use it. Okay? When he was practicing with the lightsaber, there was a little drone hovering around that would shoot him and zap him and give him shocks. And he continuously got zapped with it over and over and over again. And then his fucking mentor, what the fuck is his name?
Maybe Hollywood thinks we're like robots now, and like we don't need
Hollywood
reason for why characters
no.
behave. The
We
reason.
keep going over this. We keep getting the goddamn Hollywood leaks. Is because
Don't get mad at the table.
they literally have an agenda to propagate. We started this podcast with this point. It's John Nash, Sigmund Freud's cousin, and the guy who invented advertising, who got together and went, "Hey, we can just socially engineer society to be what we want it to be." The fact that they're pushing Asian, Black, Mexican fucking characters on us every second of the goddamn movie is not because it's what's natural to our existence. It's because what Hollywood wants to push on us to make us more accepting of these things. I don't care about a strong, independent woman that don't need no fucking man. I am not a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. I am a strong, independent man who needs his woman to be around and care for him. That's who I am.
Notice that, like, this is another thing. Like, I've grown up mostly around like my older cousins and guys in my life, and so that's why I've been exposed to a lot of these movies. And the one thing that you notice, like even in the most macho, toxic masculinity movies, is what are they trying to save? The women they love or their families. And I get that, like in feminism, they want to make that as a part of toxic masculinity, like the woman is a damsel in distress that needs to be saved and stuff like that. But just the root of that, is that something that you really want lost? And is that not? No,
absolutely not. For fuck's sakes, I've been repeating this point over and over again. If you are a damsel in distress, that is not because I made you a damsel in distress. I am the one that's going to come and fucking help you. I'm going to be the one who saves you. I'm going to be the one to be there. And I'm not going to expect sex in return like most of the fucking feminists have told you I'm going to expect. I am going to maybe expect a thank you, but for the most part, I'm going to expect the fact that you understand that I am a man. And because I'm a man, I'm willing to give up a lot of what makes me, me, to help you. This is why I point out what?
Well, I mean, and well, I mean, the thing that I was kind of trying to get at, and I was going to use, I know you hate, but we're talking about movies and television, so I'm allowed to use it as an example. But like even in the case of like Buffy and Angel, like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where she is a strong, independent woman. It's like, it's not about a strong, independent woman who doesn't need a man. It's about like not needing anybody in life at all. Like that's kind of what feminism is trying to push a little bit, right? Like not relying on the people, no matter whether they're men or women. And like even in Buffy, you have that episode where Angel becomes human, and he is not as physically as strong as her. And the reason that he wants to be with her, he wants to choose her, he wants to like be with her, but he can't choose that because he understands what she does and that this is her life and that she will constantly be jeopardized in saving him. So like even the idea of toxic masculinity, like that's what I'm saying, like you have to understand the drives of characters. And so they played around with the concept of like the fragile, weak woman who wanted to be saved in Buffy. And they use that dynamic, and you actually find out like it's not necessarily about the toxic masculinity. It's about the fact that her life would, if she would become the toxic masculine, right? Like she would constantly be trying to protect him and making sure that he's okay because he can't physically protect himself under the circumstances of what they have to fight, the supernatural forces that they have to fight. And so they can't, like by being the weak one, he's putting her at jeopardy.
Yes.
And so it's not about necessarily him not wanting to be weaker than him. It's him wanting to even protect her by not having him protect. And that's in most action movies, right? Like they say, have no woman that you love because then your enemies will use them against you.
That was. Oh God, we're circling around to it. The movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
The entire movie revolved around the fact that one of the characters, I think it was Robert De Niro character, was a thief whose entire goal revolved around one thing. He said, never put yourself in a position where you can't get out in 10 minutes flat.
Yeah. Even in Marvel movies, like what is Stick always saying to Daredevil? Don't have emotional ties. even with like that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with like gender. It's about people who have power and people who don't, and what power does. Like if when you are someone at risk, you put the people you love at, like it has nothing to do about gender. Like even the complex of saving the woman. It's about see it could be your son. It could be your father.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Okay. A lot of the things we're talking about are not necessarily. I don't even know how to put this. These are not feminist subjects per se. The feminists might take an issue with the fact that women are portrayed as damsels to be rescued. But the majority of their issue is not the damsels that need to be rescued. It's the damsels that need to be rescued in exchange for sexual gratification at the end of it.
So, like, do you see how in the example that I use with Angel and Buffy, the feminist would be like, oh, Angel is just too tough and he can't deal with being weaker than Buffy, like being the man that's weaker than the woman, where his entire reasoning as a character was that he would be putting her at jeopardy by making her worry about protecting him all the time.
This is the problem with feminism, is that they will focus on a character that was inherently always as strong and more badass than somebody else, put into a weird circumstance where he is lesser than, and saying that he is now the problem. Well, we've always had a character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer who's literally weaker than, dumber than, and more retarded than Buffy. Xander, for example,
who's one of the best characters. Yeah,
he is one of the best characters. He's literally the man that the beta male that cannot stack up to everyone else, but always tries to,
and shows up and actually solves a lot of the problems. He's always the underrated character. He's the one who, it's his heart that, like, he's in, like in the Wizard of Oz theories, he's the heart, right? Like
he's the one who cracks the jokes. He's the moral center of the thing. He even ends up marrying a woman who's far superior than him, right? Remember when he marries Anya?
I don't think Anya. I think he's superior. I love Xander.
No, but like, look, think about it. He finds a woman that is what is it? A half god demon.
She's a half demon.
But she's half god too. She's super powerful. She can crush him at any given time.
But he's honestly, Xander is like one of the strongest characters. Like, again, like the beta male, but he's not the beta male because he steps up all the time. Like, there's the reason that Buffy, like, that's why
but the only reason he's not
a team.
The only reason he's not a beta male is the fact that he's willing to stand up to odds that far exceed his ability to deal with. The reason we call them beta males is because they're not even willing to try.
Yeah.
They're just this fucking weird orbiter garbage people that hang around, not willing to put in the effort for anything.
And I mean, you can even say he's a stronger male than Angel because he's willing to be vulnerable around Buffy and still help her where Angel couldn't, right? Like, he's the only male in her life that is able to be around her and be weaker and still save her ass numerous times without using his strength. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the feminism leaking.
Maybe that's the feminism leaking. Maybe it's not. Maybe you stumbled across something incredibly big. Maybe it's just the emotional aspect of Angel not being able to be around Buffy.
Although, I mean, I don't know. I just think that show is genius in terms of character dynamics because, like, even Spike is, like, physically as strong, but it's not. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. We got sidetracked to TV shows.
Well, look. Think about it. This is Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is responsible for a large portion of modern pop culture movies that are incredibly successful. Didn't he do Cabin in the Woods?
I really like that movie, too.
Okay. To me, personally, that was a nothing movie. But
That's
also
a
pretty good movie, but still a nothing movie.
I remember it, and so in my head, if I remember the movie, it makes it a good movie.
It's a movie. It's a nothing movie. What was the point of that movie? How did that movie end? The movie ended with the end of the world.
That's true.
There's literally the end of the world happened and nothing. That's why it's a nothing movie. It's not because I don't like Cabin in the Woods. I clearly like Cabin in the Woods. I like all the social commentary he put forth, all the deconstructionism he put out there, the recall of the Buffyverse, of there being a secret cabal of people who control the world by sacrificing people to the demon gods, to ensure that the world stays safe for everybody. He even put in all the proper movie tropes of the Japanese movie tropes, of the fucking whatever movie tropes. All the movie tropes got put into the fucking show, put into the movie. He just talked about all of these things as if they're just tropes for the supernatural. And then literally the strong female character, the feminist character, was the one that broke the mold of everything and literally ended the world without being able to sacrifice herself for the betterment of the entire human race. It's actually an anti-feminist movie if you think about it, because literally the strong female character ended the world because she wasn't willing to play her role.
Yeah.
You remember that? The virgin. She's like, I'm not a virgin. Go fuck yourself. They're like, fuck. Now the world's going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but he was playing off of those movie tropes, and that's what made the movie
No,
good.
but that was the whole point. Is that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was the strong female character who was fucking willing to let her sexuality go that broke the entire mold, that literally fulfilled all of the seals of the apocalypse to revive the final gods that will destroy mankind. For those of you who didn't pay attention, Joss Whedon
Yeah.
wrote a movie where the feminist character brought on the apocalypse that destroyed all of mankind, and hasn't been able to put together a decent feminist anything since then.
So a couple other honorable mentions. Forrest Gump, I think, is overrated, but that was also a 94 movie. Star Wars makes number 13, episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
By the way, guys,
Is that the very
hold on.
first one?
Star Wars? Is it just called Star Wars, or is it called Star Wars A New Hope?
The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back is not the original. That is the third.
Okay, well, that
No,
one...
no, that's the second. That's the
Okay.
second Star Wars movie.
Well, that one...
By the way, I'm just gonna put it out there right fucking now. There's Star Wars A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those are the only real Star Wars movies. Everything else outside of that is not Star
No, I
Wars.
disagree
It is
with you.
trash.
I think episode 1, 2, 3 are actually better than those.
And that's
Yeah,
because...
I like Jar Jar Binks. Fuck all of you.
How do you like Jar Jar Binks?
I don't know. I like
don't know.
Queen Amidala. I like her pretty dresses, and I think Hayden Christensen was a great Anakin Skywalker.
This is
And
exactly
the fight
why
scene at
we
the
made a
end of the
mistake
last
by
episode
giving women
between
the ability to vote.
No, that scene with Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan Kenobi and them fighting on the larva thingy was the best part of Star Wars.
Okay, first, let's say that properly. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, not on the larva, but the
Whatever, it seemed
lava.
like a volcano.
That was the worst thing ever.
That was awesome.
How was that awesome?
That was the best part of Star
I
Wars.
Have the
for
Higher
me.
Ground is garbage.
And that and
No,
Darth
no,
Maul.
hold on,
Darth
hold on.
Maul
Can I just
was a better villain than fucking Darth Vader.
Darth Maul?
His red face was scarier than Darth Vader's.
Okay, literally Darth Maul said nothing the entire time, got cut in half and died.
Whatever. Still more
Okay,
entertaining.
hey, first of all, I Have the Higher Ground works in two
where all the
two
down
ways.
votes
Two
come in.
ways. It works with gunplay. Okay, gunplay, which there was no guns involved, and charging.
That's what all of the first Star Wars
She's
seemed
gonna
like.
knock over her glass. I'm gonna
That's
break
what
my
they
fucking
seem like.
glass. That's what it is. Literally, that was the worst scene in all of Star Wars, where he jumps over Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why the fuck would you jump over your enemy
The
to attack him?
intensity in that scene and the way that they were looking at each other. I felt it.
Just. Sorry, I need to make more fucking dick sucking motions.
Anyways, what else made the list? Inception. How'd you feel about Inception? Because that's like one of those movies everyone
Is
raves-
Inception the movie about movies?
It's the movie within a movie within a movie within a movie.
It's not a movie within a movie. It's a movie about having dreams within dreams within dreams within dreams.
Well, it's number 14 of best movie of all time.
And that's how I know the generation that's currently ruling the internet is a bunch of fucking retards.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Wait,
About
no.
The Matrix. So
Hold
are we
on,
going to
hold
talk
on,
about The
hold on.
Matrix?
No.
By the way,
Let-
segue to book club. We're doing Neuromancer.
Go back. Let's just go back for a second to Inception.
I feel like we need a part 2 to this.
We definitely need a part 2 to this.
Because we just we're just getting into the Matrix, and we're gonna do book club.
Oh, we did a large portion of the Matrix when we talked about
Neo and the Everyman.
No, we already covered Neo and the Everyman. We even covered Equilibrium, which was the movie that came after the Matrix, which was
The better Matrix.
it wasn't the better Matrix. It was a combination of other aspects of sci-fi.
Well, I think we should wrap up.
You think we should wrap up already, guys? Do you want us to wrap up? Haha, you don't get a say. Fuck you. The Matrix.
No, let's not talk about the Matrix.
Why
because
not?
we're doing Neuromancer in book club, and that's when we're going to talk about the Matrix.
When are we doing Neuromancer in the book club?
The next book club. And it's apparently the book that
Okay.
Neuromancer. And I'm very confused about
for those
it,
of
to be
hold on,
honest.
for those of you who watch our streams, which is like 3 of you.
Oh, I'll post the last book club.
That's what she says every goddamn.
And I
fucking day. Have what?
I did Brave New World.
Uh-huh.
And the last book club was Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and I will post that tonight.
One day, guys. One day.
Tomorrow.
We literally have like a
Probably
dumpster fire
Sunday.
in a couple of hours. She's not gonna do shit. The Matrix. The Matrix was another one of those white male fantasy movies where you take the blue pill or the red pill. Actually, The Matrix is one of the most culturally relevant movies we can talk about because they literally gave notion to the blue pill versus red pill. And the blue pill is a retarded concept, and the red pill is also a retarded concept according to the r/red pill. R/red pill? What? What do you want? What are you answering your phone for? We're doing a podcast.
I'm just looking at some of the top, and I'm like the movies that are the newer movies that have made the list, like Interstellar. We haven't seen that, but apparently that's.
We've absolutely seen Interstellar, and it
I
was
haven't
a
seen
garbage movie.
American
he went into a
History
three-dimensional
X.
fucking metaphysical library to fucking send barcode messages to his daughter about some garbage that didn't mean anything.
The Pianist, The Departed, Terminator.
We talked about Departed. We talked about Terminator.
We watched Whiplash recently. I didn't like the ending.
Whiplash was a garbage movie too.
There was the drummer one. Gladiator. The Prestige is in there. Memento. Memento is after The Prestige.
Who? Wait.
Alien. Alien is after those movies too.
Shut up. Do you mean chronologically after, or do you mean just
Like
on
rating on rating
I
basis.
don't give a shit about ratings. I already mentioned the fact that most fucking ratings are done by idiot fucking millennials who have no idea what's good or
Django
bad.
Unchained is number 60. Django Unchained is beating Kill Bill. Wall-E is a good movie. American Beauty.
Again, the reason it's beating Kill Bill is because there's a lot of white guilt going around, and a lot of people feel bad for black slavery, which is caused by black people.
Braveheart.
Which
Yeah, that's
was
one of
caused
those movies that are
by
bad.
fucking black people.
Reservoir Dogs.
For fuck's sakes, can we please just address the dog in the
Requiem
room?
for a Dream. We didn't even talk about that movie.
Oh.
Okay, we need to have a part 2 of movie talk, baby. We have to stop. I have to pee.
All right, I guess we all have to stop now, and you guys are gonna get a part 2 next week, tomorrow, Thursday. I don't fucking know where we're gonna do
We'll
it.
come back to the movie stuff later.
Will we? Will we? All right, y'all have a good night, and we'll come back to this some other nights later.